Hi, have you ever faced a moment that was so critical that it felt like your next step could change everything? That's what we're talking about in today's video. So, this is Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I create content around holistic healing and personal development and upload twice a week, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, to the channel. I also on Saturdays have the Holistic Pathway podcast where I have unscripted conversations with others about the holistic journey, and those are uploaded on Saturday. You can find those on the podcast tab. I do invite you to like and subscribe, as there's always something coming on the channel. So, who am I and where did I come from? Well, I have a history of severe trauma and abuse and loss. I have gotten to the other side of complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I went through a profound spiritual awakening in 2014 and became a holistic practitioner. I am a transformational spiritual coach. I am a yoga teacher, a hypnotherapist, and so much more, helping you find your way through this journey. So let's talk about these turning points and how to recognize and embrace these as they come up. Oftentimes, the pivotal things that happen are things that don't feel very good. They are usually a like a job loss or a death or an accident or um, a natural disaster or a health diagnosis. There are things that transpire in our life that often feel like our life is falling apart because of these things. And what I have found on my journey is there were so many of them, it was constant. I have often said, as far as traumatic things, that it wasn't like every minute of every day of my life was traumatic. That was not true. However, almost every day of my early life was traumatic. Not every minute of every day, but every day. So you begin over time to recognize the patterns in your life, what has happened. Now, some of that I recognized over time that choices I made were contributing to this continued process. At other times, what I realized, it was how I was perceiving those particular things that happened. Oftentimes, when we have one of these critical things that happen in our life, it's actually an opportunity. Opportunity can be a double-edged sword, right? I've had so many opportunities that didn't really feel like an opportunity. you know Sometimes it feels like I had a choice between bad and worse, or uh, worse and worser. Isn't that a word that kids say sometimes? And so, what do you do in those situations? Well, you begin to know that you don't have all the answers yet. You're not seeing the full picture. I live a very faith-based, spiritual, not religious life, and I follow my intuition and my guidance. So, what I know and what I've come to learn is when something like this presents itself for me, it's an opportunity for growth. It means that I have received everything I needed to receive from this particular situation. And now I need to go to the next level, the next stage of my growth. Now, someone may wonder, well, what do you mean if someone dies? How do how have I gotten from them everything I need? Well, That's a great question. And in my journey, what I have learned is every soul incarnates to this planet to receive whatever it is they need to receive for themselves or that they need to do in the world, into the human experience. And when they have achieved that, it's then time for them to go to what I like to call is a promotion, the next level. So while the humans who are left behind often feel a lot of grief, uh, my first husband is no longer living, and our what would have been our anniversary was yesterday. Today's my grandma's birthday. She's no longer living. And so you start to look at those things. And for me, I recognize that I can celebrate whatever it was that they did while they were on the earth because they apparently have done what they needed to do and were able to move on. What about situations I've been in where, let's say you had a job loss and all of a sudden there's no income and you're facing homelessness? I've done that more than once. So what do you do in that case? Well, you can panic or you can say, okay, apparently it was time for me to move on and I wasn't getting the signs. So now I've been faced with this. How do I embrace this change and what can I do from here? And if you go back and you think about these critical things that have happened in your life, you might just see that they were all a step, almost like a breadcrumb to get you to the very next thing that was coming in your life. And without those things, without those bad things, you never would have gotten to the next step. So, what I have come to know is that I don't view things in my life like that as bad anymore. I view them as the next thing, a growth opportunity. A path has opened up for me. What is coming next? Because everything has a season. If you are looking at our seasons, our outside seasons like weather, winter is a time for death. Winter is a time for things to die away so new things can rebirth. If you're looking at things like tarot cards, there's a death card. People often think that's about literal death. It's usually more metaphorical. It is around things have come to an end and then something new is to be reborn. In Christian religion, you hear about, Easter and Jesus, dying and coming back to life after 3 days. All of these metaphors about death and rebirth, death and rebirth. So when one of these things happen, can you check it out and say, wow, this kind of sucks right now in the moment. And what else can I do? Where can I go from here? What is this presenting to me? A less extreme example. I was not someone who could speak really. I didn't really have a voice. I had been, kind of my voice was not something I could use a lot, and I feared speaking my truth. So these opportunities kept presenting themselves to push me to speak. I think back to um, a time when I worked for the Internal Revenue Service. I was about 19 and they wanted me to teach computer classes, and it was horrifying to me. So I would go in the bathroom, I would throw up from anxiety, I would wipe my face, clean my face, and go and teach the class. Okay, so every time I would go to be in a meeting and I had to stand up and say anything, my legs felt like they were going to go out from under me. I felt nauseated, just like all the things. And I would have to show up and do it anyway. I went to work for the Federal Aviation Administration, and I was part of the combined federal campaign. I was a co-chair for that, which meant I had to stand on stage and speak to a whole bunch of people. it was horrifying to me. None of those things were comfortable. They were pivotal things that I was being asked to do. Who knew that it was going to lead to a lot of the work that I do now? Who knew? So my point is these critical things, these critical moments that come up are to help grow you into the next version of yourself, help grow you into the highest and greatest expression of yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that these moments feel good. Often they suck real bad. Often they hurt real bad. I've had a lot of them. And my internal scars from these events are significant. And every one of these events have helped grow me into the very next version of myself that I came to be. So I want to ask you, what critical moments are you having that are asking you to make a change? How can you take this as an opportunity to see it differently instead of being so focused on the loss or the change of whatever it is? How can you focus on the possibility? Can you see a possibility? Now, again, I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. Why I say that is because sometimes we get so covered up in pain, we don't know how to see the possibilities anymore. That's what I help you do. And that could be around anything, around anything. So let me know about pivotal. That word is so challenging for me to say. Pivotal moments that you've had where you can now look back and see how it changed the trajectory of your life. Can you see the value in that? And if you need help navigating this, I offer a free holistic consultation that will be available in the description and also the comments, where we talk about what you've got going on, what I do, and see if I am, if we're a great fit to go to the next step together. So thank you so much for watching. I really want to encourage you to look at these things that are happening in your life and realize they are seasons. They don't continue, they do change, and each one sort of turns the tide in your life, getting you to that next version of yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.